Now it was 3 days after Jesus had died, and there were two who were walking back to their village of Emmaus, leaving from Jerusalem. It was about 7 miles' journey, and they were deep in conversation. They felt so sad that the one they really hoped was going to deliver Israel had died, and yet they'd heard stories that confused them from women who said they'd seen him. As they were walking along, discussing and talking together, Jesus himself came and was walking with them. But they didn't recognize who he was. He asked, "What are you discussing so intently together?" And they stood there, long-faced and sad, and said, "Are you the only one in Jerusalem who hasn't heard what's happened in the last few days?" And he replied, "What has happened?" It's about Jesus of Nazareth. He was a man of God, a prophet, blessed by God and all the people, but our high priests and leaders betrayed him. He was sentenced to death and crucified. And now it's 3 days since that happened. And what's more, some women had been to the tomb this morning and found it empty. They confused us with their stories of angels. But Jesus answered, "Can't you see? These things had to happen. The prophets spoke of it in the scriptures." As they walked along, Jesus began at the beginning, starting with the books of Moses, and went through all the prophets, pointing out everything in the scriptures that referred to him. And when they came to the edge of the village where they were heading, he acted as if he was going to go on, but they said, "Oh, stay with us, have supper with us. The day is nearly over, it's evening time." So Jesus accepted their invitation, and he went into their home with them so that they could sit down together and share a meal. Jesus sat down at the table to share the meal with them, and this is when something unexpected happened. It was like their eyes had been opened. Finally, they recognised who they'd been talking to. It was Jesus, but now he'd gone. They were excited, amazed, delighted. They'd been talking with Jesus. They talked to each other about how they felt on the road as he was showing them things in the scriptures. It had touched their hearts so much. It almost felt like they were burning inside when he revealed that all of these things were meant to be. And they didn't waste any time. They went straight back to Jerusalem, found the 11 disciples and said, "Yes, it's really true. Jesus is alive. We spoke with him." They explained everything that happened on the road and how finally they recognised him as he broke bread.